Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of ETV News. I'm Lauren Zenzi.
And I'm Megan Saunders.
A number of United States Supreme Court justices look to be in favor of an argument that Abercrombie and Fitch were discriminatory against a Muslim teenager. Samantha Olaf argues that Abercrombie and Fitch dismissed her because of her headscarf and it did not coincide with the company's dress code. Since the incident, the company has changed their policy on headscarves while still fighting the case in court. Olaf's case, which brought by Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, argues that her headscarf collided with Abercrombie and Fitch's East Coast style. The U.S. court will seek answers whether or not a prospective employee must ask for a religious exemption.
You may have seen or heard about the recent blockbuster titled American Sniper. The film, which is an autobiography of U.S. Navy SEAL Chris Kyle, this past week a man named Eddie Ray Routh was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole for the murder of Chris Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield. Routh shot both men in the back of the head at a shooting range as they were unloading their weapons. It only took a little over 2 hours to reach the final verdict, sentencing Routh to prison instead of the death penalty.
As the trial against Jermaine Richards, the boyfriend of Eastern's own Alicia Wiley, advances, awareness over partner abuse is being raised. ECSU, along with the United Services of Dayville, created a course to educate men about domestic violence. The 10 by 10 campaign, as it has been named, believes that there are 3 things men can do to prevent intimate partner abuse: bring awareness, take action, and increase accountability. For more information about the 10 by 10 campaign, visit the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence.
The rapper Tyga has been looking for her. Wiz Khalifa wants a girl who likes her, and now even Middletown police want to find her. Last weekend, police began investigating after 12 Wesleyan students were transported to the hospital after taking the popular party drug Molly, a form of MDMA. The specific batch that caused the students to be admitted to the hospital may have been mixed with many other designer drug chemicals, which caused the severe reaction. The 4 students accused have been arrested in connection to the incident. The investigation is still ongoing.
According to AAA Insurance, gas prices are back on the rise. After some areas of the country had gas prices to close to $2 a gallon, the average price of a gallon of gas has increased every day for nearly a month. The national average is currently at $2.31. However, despite the recent climb in price, consumers are paying about $1.11 less today than they were last year. The direction of prices has taken a step back, but there is still hope for gas prices to decrease at some point in the future.
Police in Orange are sending out a warning about leaving kids in cold cars. There have been 2 arrests in relation to this issue. The first happened outside Sam's Club on Valentine's Day. Police say one woman left her 10-year-old son in the car while temperatures were in the teens. Last Wednesday, police say another mother left her 3-year-old in the car outside Kohl's. Both are now charged with leaving a child unsupervised.
It wasn't a great year this year for the Oscars. Viewership was down 16%, reaching the lowest level since 2009. According to Nielsen, 36.6 million people tuned into the award show. That's down from the 43.7 million who watched Ellen DeGeneres host last year. The drop may have been due to the lack of popularity the movie is nominated for Best Picture.
A Minnesota man, Alan Zerad, lost his eyesight due to a degenerative retinal disease. But this week, Zerad was finally able to see his wife of nearly 50 years for the first time in a decade. Zerad, who is 68 years old, was able to lay eyes on his beautiful wife, Carmen, thanks to a bionic eye. The eye, which is a pair of dark glasses with a camera near the bridge of the nose. Alan said, quote, "Obviously, I'm able to see the details and facial features and so on, but just being able to acknowledge my family's presence, not only by sound, but also the image I get, is pretty exciting," unquote. Both Alan and Carmen shedded tears of joy during this emotional but happy experience.
If you're planning a trip to SeaWorld in Orlando, listen up. Some changes will be going into effect as of yesterday. You can no longer feed the dolphins. Instead, you will soon be able to buy 10-minute packages that include petting the dolphins and taking photos with them. That will cost you about $15 and will start next month. You might remember an 8-year-old made headlines after getting bit by a dolphin. Such a tragedy.
With all the snow we've gotten this year, many New England residents wish they could ship it somewhere else. And that's exactly what Boston resident Kyle Waring is doing. Waring is bottling 16-ounce containers of snow and selling them to warmer places for a mere $19.99. Waring's company, which has become known as Ship Snow Yo, also offers 6 pounds of snow for $89. The company has sold over 130 containers, and Waring has already joked about sending other seasonal items like the fall foliage. We'll see how long this will last with the seemingly never-ending winter.
After 7 hilarious seasons, NBC's Parks and Recreation finally came to an end. Fans gathered around their televisions on Tuesday, February 24th to watch the emotional series finale. Viewers were able to see the futures of beloved characters Leslie Knope, Ron Swanson, Andy Dwyer, and the like. The finale premiered less than a week after the death of 30-year-old Parks writer Harris Wittels. Respectfully, that final episode was dedicated to his honor. Season 1 through 6 of that season are available to stream on Netflix, and Season 7 is available to stream on NBC.com.
And stay tuned. We will be right back with this week's editorial after this short break.
This new dad is picturing a tree house in the sky, but he's ignoring the instructions. Good luck, big guy. His kids know that he's building without a clue. Never been so good with nails and glue. Now we're trapped inside a box. I hope mom knows what to do. Mom! See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume is not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and I help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
I'm Amanda Eckert with this week's editorial. For the past 3 years, February 26th has been a very painful reminder to me. Today, one of my best friends, Maggie Radford, should have been turning 21 years old, but her life was cut short at just 17 after her car hydroplaned and hit a tree while merging onto I-95 from New York. Maggie is one of the most beautiful, hardworking, caring individuals that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and she helped me grow in more ways than I can even explain. The accident, which happened on New Year's Day of 2012, forever remains in my mind. After reading article after article repeating the same details, it feels like I was looking at the crash that night. And seeing pictures of the silver BMW that I spent so much time in during high school, hugging a tree and burnt to a crisp, was mind-numbing. Maggie and I had just reconciled just a few days prior to the accident, after not talking for months. I'm so grateful to have been able to tell her that I didn't actually hate her and that I wanted her in my life despite everything that had happened. Most of the events leading up to the moment of the accident have remained a mystery to those outside of Maggie's immediate family, but that hasn't stopped me from replaying scenarios in my head, considering what may have happened. She loved fast cars, hence the fact she owned a BMW. There's no doubt in my mind that speed was a factor in the accident. She was also very much into drinking and partying, so there's part of my heart that believes she may have been under the influence of some substance while driving. And the final possible cause is the infamous texting and driving scenario. After being friends with Maggie for so long, I know that any of these scenarios are likely to have happened. I may never know which factors caused the accident, but I do know that the past cannot be changed. Rather than trying to spend the rest of my life trying to figure out the main reason that my best friend is no longer with me, I want to encourage other people to make smart choices. In Connecticut, when you get your license, you're required to go to driver's education classes to learn about driving safety. This class has been mocked by everyone, including myself. But I realize that it's important for people, especially teens, to know these things. Car crashes are the #1 killer of teens in the US. In 2012, over 2,400 teens between the ages of 16 and 19 were killed in a car accident, which means that 6 to 7 teens died a day. 56% of the deaths were the drivers, and the additional 44% passengers. Teens also account for 30% of total motor vehicle injuries, despite only making up 14% of the US population. And 30% of teens admit to being in the car with someone who is texting and driving. I know how exciting it is to have a car and to have freedom to do whatever you want, but carelessly driving isn't something that should be taken lightly. I'm guilty of taking my eyes off the road to look at my phone, and it's a habit that I'm desperately trying to quit. When you're driving, don't text, don't speed, don't drink, and please be careful. Your loved ones don't want to have to bury you because you stopped paying attention to the road for a second, and they shouldn't have to. That's all for tonight's editorial. Stay safe, Eastern. Hold your loved ones close. We'll be right back.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Information on hot water heating.
No. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out the words.
World music, playing track now.
No.
Let me try. Our daughter gets confused about which details in a story are important.
Which paper towels are most absorbent?
What?
Here are 5 product reviews.
Why are you not getting me?
See, I told you.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Are you looking to sit back and enjoy a show? Well, on February 27th, Eastern's own experimental theater class will be performing Prime Numbers, The Greatest Hits. Prime Numbers is a series of small performance pieces written by Eastern professor Edmund Chabot. The performances, which were supervised by David Pellegrini and Alicia Bright Holland, and it will take place at 1 p.m. in the Student Center Theater. Be sure to stop by and support your fellow Eastern students and faculty. Admission is free.
On February 25th, Eastern held its annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Distinguished Service Awards. Sponsored by the Intercultural Center, these awards are designed to recognize members of the community that effectively demonstrate the ideals that Dr. King lived by. 3 individuals were recognized this year: Eastern student Jonah Craggett, Eastern mathematics professor Anthony Adu, and Reginald Hales, publisher of the Inquiring News newspaper. ECSU senior Jonah Craggett was recognized for his excellence as a resident assistant in Noble Hall. Craggett also gave a heartfelt acceptance speech in which he outlined his motivation for the things he does, saying, quote, "I dedicate this award to my late brother, Jacob Craggett. Everything I do for him and for young children of color everywhere. Not only do your lives matter, but they are worth so much more than you can even comprehend," unquote.
Seniors, I cannot believe it, but the end is almost here. Wednesday, February 25th was the first of many events being held for seniors before graduation. The class of 2015 hosted Jim Spinato, a hilarious and R-rated hypnotist, while they sold shirts as well as accepted donations for Eastern's High Five fundraising tradition. If you missed this event, don't worry, there will be many more opportunities in the coming months for you to celebrate with your fellow seniors, including a senior brunch, a senior trip, and a reception. Be sure to attend and celebrate the past amazing 4 years.
If you rely on the store's Willimantic bus service, listen up because some major changes are coming your way. This week, the Windham Regional Transit District held 2 public hearings on proposed service reductions for the store's to Willimantic bus service. The proposed reductions have not been released yet, but the agenda released before the meeting suggests the route could be eliminated altogether.
If you stop by Schaefer this weekend and notice it's covered in graffiti, don't be alarmed. It was not vandalized, I promise. It's ACUS's Gallery's latest exhibition. The 6 artists who are creating the exhibit, entitled Aerosol Evolution, will begin work on Saturday morning and continue to work until Sunday afternoon. The goal of this exhibit is to show that graffiti can be positive, dynamic, and progressive. A live feed of this exhibit will be available online. The exhibit will be open to the public from March 5th until April 16th.
Are you a graduating senior this year that's looking forward to moving on to a master's degree here at Eastern in either accounting, education, or organizational management? Well, if you are, then the Graduate Division Open House is for you. It'll be on March 24th, and it will lead you in the right direction that you're looking for. The open house will be held from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the J. Eugene Smith Library in the Johnson Room. In order to attend, you need to RSVP by March 13th, and the open house is free and open to anybody who is interested.
Wednesday night marked Eastern's Writers Guild's first coffee house of the semester. Students had the chance to read poetry, short stories, and even sing. The event was a very good success with the great turnout that filled the whole entire Student Center Cafe. Eastern's Writers Guild announced that the next coffee house will be next month. Writers and musicians, be on the lookout.
One of the best parts of the spring semester is right around the corner, the spring concert. Last Friday, CAB announced that the spring concert artist will be T-Pain. T-Pain is an R&B singer with such hits as Buy You a Drink and Bartender. The concert will be held in the Geisler Gymnasium at 7 p.m. on Sunday, April 26th. Tickets will go on sale on March 30th. This event is open to all Eastern students and the public.
On March 3rd, Males presents the Gentleman's Auction. Males will be hosting a pageant and auction to raise money for their organization and to provide the Eastern community with a fun, respectful, and entertaining show. The pageant will contain an introduction of all members, a talent and skills section, a questionnaire section, and lastly, the auction. This event will take place at 7 p.m. in the Betty Tipton Room. Don't miss it.
On March 4th, CAB and the Intercultural Center will be hosting Around the World in 60 Minutes. This event will take place in the Student Center lobby, where there will be food samples from different countries, activities, and chances to learn about new places. This is a great opportunity for Eastern members to get a taste of different cultures. This event will start at 6 p.m.
On March 7th, Males will be hosting their 3rd annual All-Star Basketball event. There will be competitions of 1-versus-1 tournaments, 3-on-3 tournaments, a dunk contest, and a 3-point contest. There will be first place prizes for each competition. This event will take place in the Geisler Gymnasium and will start at 5 p.m.
When presented with the task of performing children's theater, Alice is an obvious choice, said theater lecturer Lenore Grunko of ECSU, who directed Eastern students in their performance of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland from February 18th to the 22nd in the Harry Hope Theater. Most people are familiar with the story of Alice in Wonderland, whether reading the original book by Lewis Carroll or seeing the film adaptation. Nonetheless, each adaptation is unique. With the intent of performing a play that elementary schools were invited to attend, Grunko decided on Alice because, quote, we all need to learn about her fear, her bravery, and yes, even her foolishness, unquote. And we are with Matt Malillo for this week's weather update. Matt, what's it like out there?
Thanks, Med. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to ETV's 5-day forecast. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick birthday shout out to our audio guy. Now let's see what's happening outside. Today was cloudy with a high of 25 and a low of 7. Friday's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 27 and a low of 1. But that wind chill is going to make it feel below 0. Sorry about that. Come along Saturday, it's going to be a high of 28 and a low of 6. It's going to be partly cloudy once again, but that wind chill is going to be brutal, so please bundle up. Now here we go with Sunday. I'm sorry to say it again. There's going to be more snow. It's going to be high of 34 and a low of 28. You know, that's some summer weather around here. But we have to, welcome. We have to give this to the air system bearing down on the northeast from Canada, giving us the threat of a potential snowstorm on Sunday night. Luckily on Monday, there's partly sunny skies with a high of 37 and a low of 14. Now this sun may melt some snow, but it's going to make it slick out there, so please be careful driving. And we'll be right back after these quick messages with Nick Akinfora in this week's Sports Update.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Hey, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
No more pencils, no more books.
No more teachers' dirty looks.
School's out for summer.
School's out forever.
School's out with fever.
School's out completely.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%. And it can happen in every place.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
I'm Nick Akinfora with this week's Sports Update. After its win over Western Connecticut last Tuesday, the Eastern men's basketball team took the floor at home for the final time in this regular season as they hosted Southern Maine. Here are your highlights. Senior day for Brandon Yarborough, the only senior on the Eastern Connecticut squad this year, getting a hug from Coach Wild prior to the game. Here's Kevin Lumaine with a jumper. He puts it in. Then Hugh Lindo with a rebound. He puts it up, and Lindo's going to do the same thing right here as he puts it in off the glass. Here's Tarshy Brown with the one-handed jam. He went to the line for a three-point play. Kevin Lumaine's three-pointer is good. On the other end, it's Fred Knight. He had a big game against the Eastern Bigs, although Eastern led by 11 at half. Second half we go. Brown on the break, right out of the gate, sends it in with one hand. Here's Fred Knight keeping Southern Maine in it, but Eastern will pull away as Colin Jordan is open for three. He hits it, and Eastern Connecticut comes away with a win in their final regular season game, 67-53. The men set a program record for wins with that win, 21 in the regular season. This past Tuesday, the Warriors were home as they hosted Southern Maine once again. However, Tuesday's game was the first round of the 2015 conference tournament. Let's go to the highlights. Eastern getting ready for this one. They're the 1 seed, Southern Maine the 8 seed. Getting things kicked off here. Jacob Littlefield knocks down a jumper for Southern Maine. On the other end, it's Kevin Lumaine who hits a three-pointer. Hit Lindo with the one-handed jam over Fred Knight. Tarshy Brown with a drive to the basket and one. He went to the line to convert a three-point play. Littlefield, another jumper. He had 11 points for Southern Maine to start off the game. Ciro with a big three-pointer. A timeout was taken by Southern Maine. Eastern with an early 21-6 lead with 13-17 remaining in the first half. Here comes Lindo with the putback jam. right over Littlefield after the Torchy Brown miss, and then Yarborough knocks down the three-pointer. Eastern with a 23-point lead at half. Second half we go, Brown with a dunk, and hey look, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Hugh Lindo with the alley-oop jam. He throws it down, he's pumped up. Eastern pumped up as well, Kaczynski puts it in. The freshman Young comes in, three-pointer, he's got it. Eastern Connecticut moved on 80-39. With that win, they head to the semifinals where they'll renew a rivalry with Keene State at the Francis E. Geisler Gymnasium. Eastern Connecticut will take on Keene State at 5 p.m. tomorrow, so make sure to head over to the Geisler Gymnasium. You can also go to littleeast.tv and littleeast.com to check up all the score updates. Let's move on to women's basketball now. Eastern Connecticut State University grabbed the 1 seed after a UMass Dartmouth loss to Keene. And Eastern, the first time in quite some time, they ended up grabbing that 1 seed. They were home Tuesday as they took on Plymouth State in the first round of the 2015 conference tournament. Let's take a look at those highlights. Here we go, Eastern Connecticut women getting ready in this one. Plymouth State with one of their only few buckets early on in this game right there. On the other end, it's Jill Rytrowski who goes up and lays it in. And again, Plymouth State, again right here, nice rebound and put back up with the left hand. But again, Eastern really took off in the first half. Here's McBride finding McCourt a jumper. She knocks it down. And again, Jill Rytrowski, she's open. She hits it all net. And then McCourt with that fadeaway jumper she's loved so much. She's closing in on 1,000 in this game. Victoria Full came off the bench and hit a three. Here's McCourt again staying hot. Full, her second three of the game is good. 32-7 Eastern Connecticut leads. Here's Plymouth, another deep jumper. They get it to go, but again, Eastern stayed hot. Here's McCourt, that fadeaway jumper's good. And here's number 1001, McCourt knocks it down. Eastern Connecticut call a timeout to celebrate with their senior. Alexis Foster puts it up in the second half. Carter Rowley a rebound. She puts it up, and Eastern Connecticut advances. They won 77-37. They'll go to the semifinals for the second year in a row. Like the men, the women will play Keene State in the semis. The game will be at the Geisler Gymnasium at 5 p.m. Saturday evening. A win would send the Warriors to the finals Sunday at 2 p.m. Just like the men's tournament, you can check everything out on littleeast.tv and littleeast.com. Coaches and players don't always get along, right? Well, I would say so, but there's a point where it can cross the line. For the Dallas Mavericks, things got a little bit testy the other night. Recently acquired guard Rajon Rondo didn't want to run a play his head coach called, but then head coach Carlisle came over and called a timeout immediately. And before you know it, Rondo walked over to the bench, and some words were spoken between the two, Coach Carlisle and also Rajon Rondo. Some words that us on-air people can't really say. The Mavericks decided to suspend Rondo for 1 game. Dallas fans must be furious. Rondo was acquired in the trade, going to the Mavs eventually to sign a long-term contract, but now, according to sources, Rondo may not be signing. It'll be interesting to see how Rondo and his head coach communicate the remainder of the season. 71 swings and 6 home runs, so that's roughly 18 home runs and 210 at-bats. As a Yankees fan, I'll take it. On Alex Rodriguez's first day at spring training, the 39-year-old hit 6 home runs in his short batting practice session. Media was everywhere, as expected. A-Rod was cooperative by answering questions for nearly 10 straight minutes. He admitted to making mistakes and said there was no justifiable reasons for anything he's done over the past 2 years. He finished by saying he was grateful for Major League Baseball, the Yankees, and the fans. In more interesting news, the Boston Red Sox signed 19-year-old Cuban star Yoan Moncada. The Sox have high hopes for the young utility player, and they weren't the only team who went after him. The Padres and the Yankees were also in talks, but it was the Sox who came away with the best offer. The $31.5 million offer is 100% taxed, so it took the Sox $63 million to sign a 19-year-old. Boston fans are hoping to see Moncada this season, but the Sox will be patient and watch him closely during spring training. Happy birthday to our audio man, Steve. That's all for sports.
That's it for this week's show. To see any other ETV episodes, visit the ETV YouTube channel. Thanks for watching and tune in next week. Good night, Eastern. Have a wonderful, magical weekend.
And happy birthday, audio man.
Happy birthday, Steve.